graduated with my associate degree in fashion merchandising. Walking across that stage felt so surreal. It was a moment I had imagined for a long time. A moment I wasn't always sure what happened. And while I was thinking about everything it took to get to that point, I found myself reflecting on something much deeper than graduation itself. Because the truth is, I didn't become her when I graduated. I didn't become her when I received my degree. I didn't become her when people congratulated me. I didn't become her when I walked across the stage. I became her in all the moments leading up to it. And I think that's something a lot of us forget. We spend so much time looking ahead at the finish line that we don't realize we're being transformed while we're still on our journey. For the most part, I never really took school seriously. Not because I wasn't capable, not because I didn't have potential, but because I genuinely didn't believe in myself. I never saw myself as the person who would finish college. I never saw myself as the person who would stick with something long enough to actually complete it. And if I'm being completely honest and transparent, there were times when I didn't even care enough to try. I would start things and stop, lose interest, get distracted, convince myself that other people were smarter, more disciplined, or more capable than I was. Eventually, I started believing those thoughts. I started believing that maybe school just wasn't for me. Maybe I wasn't one of those people who could finish. Maybe I wasn't meant to have that experience. But life has a funny way of challenging the stories we tell ourselves. Because years later, I decided to go back, and I wish I could sit here and tell you that once I made that decision, everything became easy. But it didn't. Going back to school was one of the most challenging things I've ever done. Not necessarily because the work was impossible, but because life doesn't stop while you're trying to improve yourself. I still had responsibilities. I still had bills. I still had moments where I felt overwhelmed. I still had days when I was tired. I still had moments when I questioned whether finishing was even worth it. There were times I felt behind, times I compared myself to other people, times I wondered why it seemed like everyone else had things figured out except for me. And if you've ever worked towards something that took years to accomplish, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The hardest part isn't always the goal itself. The hardest part is continuing when the excitement fades. The hardest part is continuing when nobody is watching. The hardest part is staying committed when the results aren't immediate. Because real growth isn't glamorous. Real growth is often repetitive. It's choosing the same goal over and over again. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's doing work when nobody is applauding you. And that's what the journey taught me. It taught me that confidence isn't something you magically wake up with. Confidence is built. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. Confidence comes from showing yourself that you can trust yourself. Every assignment I completed, every semester I finished, every moment I chose not to quit, I was building evidence that I was capable. And that's something nobody can give you. You have to build it for yourself. Looking back, I realized that earning my degree wasn't the biggest accomplishment. The biggest accomplishment was becoming the kind of woman who could finish what she started. Because years ago, I wasn't that woman. Years ago, I doubted myself consistently. Years ago, I didn't believe I had what it took. Years ago, I would have talked myself out of trying. But somewhere along the way, something started changing. Not overnight, not dramatically, little by little, semester by semester, choice by choice. I became more disciplined, more resilient, more committed, and more confident. And that's why I keep talking about becoming her, because I think so many women believe there's going to be one magical moment where everything just changes. The promotion, the relationship, the degree, the new apartment, the new business, the glow up. We think those things will transform us, but most of the time they don't. What transforms us is who we become while we're working towards those things. The woman I wanted to become wasn't waiting for me at graduation. She was being built every single day. In the moments I wanted to quit, but I didn't. In the moments I doubted myself, but kept going. In the moments I chose growth over comfort. That's where she was cheated. And maybe that's exactly what someone watching this needs to hear. Maybe you're working towards something right now. Maybe you're building a business. Maybe you are trying to lose weight. Maybe you are healing. Maybe you're going back to school. Maybe you are trying to create a better life for yourself. And maybe it feels like it's taking longer than you expected. I want you to know that just because it's taking time doesn't mean it's not working. Just because you haven't reached the finish line does not mean that you're not growing. Just because you can't see the transformation yet doesn't mean it isn't happening. Sometimes the biggest changes happen so gradually that you don't notice them until you look back. And when I looked back now, that's exactly what I see. I see years of growth, years of learning, years of becoming. And that's why I can honestly say I didn't become her when I graduated. I became her through every challenge, every setback, every lesson, every moment. I chose to keep going. So, wherever you are in your journey, don't give up on yourself. Keep showing up, keep believing, keep taking the next step, because one day you'll realize that the life changing moments wasn't the finish line. It was the person you became on the way there. And trust me, she's already becoming someone she's proud of. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.